Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every single day by GEAUX Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Stop in and see Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the entire crew down there at GEAUX Chevrolet. Newest used car lot here in Baton Rouge. Stop in and see Go Express sales over there on Florida Boulevard, but GEAUX Chevrolet every day driving us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Our coffee is presented daily by Majestic, locally brewed down here in South Louisiana. Stop in and see Majestic. They're online. They're all over social media. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and everybody that appears today on our phone lines is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Remember, real doctors, real solutions. Metropolitan Health Group, Jason Ramazan, Charles Harvey. Got an email from Jason Ramazan yesterday, Mr. Fun, about the trip to L.A. for
I saw
LSU.
That too. I looked into it. It's a
UCLA,
good package.
absolutely.
Are we going and doing a live show or what?
We're definitely going to. We're going to promote the trip for a couple of seats heading out to LA, and then we're going to get in touch with some people out in LA for sure to see where they where they can set us up, as LSU scheduled to play UCLA in their regular season opener for the 2021 season. First, it'll be the spring game this Saturday. There's guidelines. They have put out what this Saturday will look like as far as inside Tiger Stadium, so we'll get you those details coming up here. Hunt Palmer is going to stop by 7:30 this morning. We'll call Hunt Palmer from the LSU Sports Radio Network. We will also talk to Frank Wilson, who Wilson enters a short offseason after this spring FCS season, as they were beat on Saturday by Sam Houston State. First time in 15 years the Pokes will close up a regular season without a winning year. We will talk to Coach Wilson about some of the challenges, as he's got to bring in a defensive coordinator and a strength coach in just this short time before they get back out onto the field in the fall. So we'll talk to Coach Wilson coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, and Jeff Duncan will stop by from The Athletic, as Duncan covers New Orleans down there and has been such a staple in the city. He's also the author of Peyton and Breeze, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history. We'll talk to him about the identity of the Saints now, with Breeze on the way out and Sean Payton looking for a new quarterback, what he anticipates in the draft, and Kevin James going to play Sean Payton in a new Netflix series.
That's interesting.
Coming up. What was your first reaction when you saw that?
Somebody's going to have to make a major commitment to the role here. I don't know if Kevin James is a method actor, but he's going to have to shed some OB.
I just kind of stared at it like,
It's like Kevin James.
Out of all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I like the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I do too. I think that angle is definitely the road less traveled when you think about the New Orleans Saints and Bountygate, in talking about Sean Payton coaching his 12-year-old son in the suburbs of Dallas while he was suspended from the NFL the season that he was out. I think that it would be interesting to watch that for sure.
That's the only way to make the Bountygate a puff piece.
If I remember correctly, he called Parcells during that time to see how he had to defend the wing tee. You know what I mean, if there was a Sports Center special on Peyton calling Bill Parcells and getting some defensive tips on some youth league sports. So I don't know. I'm like y'all. When I saw Kevin James, I thought, man, Hollywood's a big old place.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a lot of people in Hollywood.
But I mean, who would play Sean
I saw
Payton?
some Frankie Muniz
David
out there.
Spade.
Oh.
David Spade.
David Spade.
I mean, don't they kind of look like?
I think he kind of looks like Kevin
guess.
James. The more I looked at the pictures, their faces have similar bone structure. I guess
His nose is just a little bit
That's
too
why they
wide
chose
for
the
Sean
bone
Payton.
structure.
Yeah,
The bone
definitely.
structure.
Oh, hey,
I
volume's
don't
working.
know. David Spade. That's interesting.
David Spade, I thought.
I gotta sit with that for a minute.
Some other ones that I saw coming out on Twitter made some sense, but I mean, I guess Kevin James just went a lot like everybody else. Once when you saw it, you were like, oh, all right,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I had to think in my head, is that Kevin James I'm picturing? Is that the right guy?
Right. And that's,
The Paul Blart.
Yeah. I mean, that was the Atlanta Falcons tweet.
Yeah.
Waiting on the mall cop. I love that. I mean, I love the social media back and forth. The Falcons got into it. Carolina got into it.
Saints just slap Atlanta around whenever it comes to anything they post on social media. They
and on the
cannot
field.
take a dig.
I mean, that's why you can do it, because they own them on the field.
Right.
We will talk to Jeff Duncan coming up here at 8:15 this morning, as Duncan will stop by. We'll talk some Saints stuff with Duncan, what he anticipates in the draft, who's going to be the draft pick and the quarterback situation in New Orleans, as Duncan has covered New Orleans for such a long time. We'll get his thoughts there on where the Saints go coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll also react to some of the news in the NFL. Julian Edelman is retiring, or it must be a forced retirement after a failed physical on Monday. That was announced by the New England Patriots. Edelman officially announced his retirement from the NFL a little after the Patriots terminated his contract due to a failed physical.
That seems sad to
yes,
me.
I mean that's a tough way to go.
Is that really it? That's just it?
Well, I mean,
you get like one chance at the physical and then you're done.
I think there's a basic NFL physical that you have to pass, and then each team has protocols that they can get you in on. I'm not sure if this is the NFL mandated physical or a team physical, but I would imagine that if there was any team that would try to skate corners to keep a player like Julian Edelman off of a failed physical, it would be Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Not to say that they would put somebody in
harm's way,
in a difficult situation, but I mean, a player like Edelman, what he means to that franchise,
yeah.
I got to imagine that he's got to be at peace with this.
And I didn't know if it was the Patriots doing him a favor so we could link back up with his boy Tommy.
That's the first thing I thought.
Really? You don't think that?
That was the first thing I thought, but I mean, in the same world, this is Bill Belichick.
Right.
This is the New England Patriots. This is the NFL. I mean, who really is going to give I mean, you're not going to give your opponent, especially a guy like Brady, one of his sharpest weapons. I mean, think about the relationship that Edelman and Brady shared when they were in their prime, man. I mean, Edelman is the quintessential Patriot, or he's the quintessential Tom Brady wide receiver. A 7th-round draft pick, comes in from Kent State, played quarterback in college, really unexpected to even make the team. I think they thought of him as a special teams type of guy when they brought him in. 3 years later, he's Brady's top target. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He's been there for 3 years. I mean, I think that the debate I saw yesterday on social media was whether or not Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer, and I think that that is to be debated. But you do have to look at what he did in the postseason, and I think that is it's definitely it's marks for him as far as proving his value. I mean, I think that the regular season numbers, you can throw them up against a lot of people in the NFL, and they'll be comparable. But when you look at what he did in the postseason, where he had 118 receptions, over 1,400 yards, and he's second only all-time to Jerry Rice when you talk about the postseason numbers that he accomplished in playing alongside. He's got a Super Bowl MVP after he caught 12 passes versus the Los Angeles Rams a couple of seasons ago. 3 rings. He was drafted in 2009. What's that, 12 years?
Yep.
I mean, to me, it feels like he's done.
Well, yeah, if he's going to say that the wheels have fallen off, that was his quote. Like, I said, I'd ride till the wheels fall off. I was like, boys, the wheels are off.
Yeah.
But he's 34.
Well, he's been through a lot.
Which is ancient.
I know, but look at his buddy Tom.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I would feel bad.
Tom is. This is.
I mean, Tom's
don't
a freak.
Don't take this wrong. Tom is at the most protected position in sports.
Yeah.
Now, it's still the NFL, and it's still behind an offensive line in a pocket where you've got 300-pounders running at you full speed, and guys coming off the edge with the intent to hurt you. So by no means is it a safe sport.
Right.
But when you look at the quarterback position, all of the rules in that game have been geared to keeping that position healthy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Because, I mean, and look at the price tag on those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy like Dak Prescott, he's about to be making $40 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that there's going to be officials or NFL administrators that say something to the effect of, hey, let's keep this guy healthy.
Right.
I mean, let's make sure we keep the TV draw healthy and bringing in the fan base and being able to charge and get people into the seats. I think that when you look at the quarterback position, just with the intent to keep that position safe and healthy, really is kind of a testament to Brady's longevity. I mean, look, by no means
yeah.
is am I discounting what
No,
Tom
I
Brady
get it. It makes
is doing?
total sense.
But I mean, he's only been injured one time. I mean, think about Breeze.
Yeah.
Breeze didn't miss action until his last 2 seasons in New Orleans.
And think about also Edelman's position. You mentioned how old he is for an NFL player. Behind running back, I think probably wide receivers, one of the most high turnover positions that I could think of.
Especially with how much they used him and how they used him. I mean, he returned kicks. He ran down on special teams. That man has probably bone on both knees. He's gone through just about everything you can do to make himself available and on the field.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I say the MVP pushes him past it.
Not a Hall of Famer, but Ring of Honor for the Patriots.
Oh, for sure. He's a Ring of Honor for the Patriots. No doubt. I think he's a first ballot.
So Cam Newton's the new star.
I don't know who the face of the Patriots is.
I don't think Cam Newton is the solution.
I'm excited about Cam.
Well, I mean, look, Cam, to me, Cam feels done.
Oh, yeah.
Just physically. I mean, he's just broken down. I mean, he's just
change your mind.
That guy is. I mean, the size, the speed, the amount of hits that he's taken over the years. I mean, that takes its toll, man.
And it's funny when you talk about how protected the quarterback position was, and it was everybody but Cam, essentially. Like, they treated him a little bit differently, especially when you go back to that Denver Super Bowl, and then the first game after, he was getting pummeled around again. And then after that, it's kind of been, a steady decline for Cam. He just got, like you said, he's been injured, he's been hurt, and you can tell when he plays.
Shaq effect.
Yes.
In the NBA. I mean, you don't call as many fouls on Shaq because it just doesn't look like it hurts him as much.
It just looks different.
Yeah, right. I mean, people bounce off of him rather than, him taking and absorbing the shots like most of the league does. All right.
Y'all are sleeping on Cam.
Hopefully. We'll see. I think that New England goes quarterback in the draft.
Working in the draft,
for
trying
sure.
to make a little play.
Yeah, and I think that this year's selection of quarterback, I mean, there's a lot of good players at that position. And I think that, Josh McDaniels, when you look at Bill Belichick in the quarterback spot, I think they've probably got their eyes on a prospect because Cam is not the long-term answer by any stretch. I think that they were negotiating on whether or not they were going to bring him back after that 1-year contract last season. So we'll talk to Jeff Duncan about what's next for the New Orleans Saints. Coming up this weekend for LSU. Tigers will welcome fans back to the stadium, to Tiger Stadium, for the National L Club Spring Game. That was announced yesterday. The game can be viewed on the SEC Network. Plus, admission to the game is going to be free of charge. Seating general admission throughout the lower bowl of Tiger Stadium. Gates of the stadium will open at 11 o'clock the day of the game, and they'll be able, the fans will be able to enter through the south and west gates. LSU will follow safety protocols currently in place for its outdoor athletic events, and social distancing will be encouraged throughout the lower bowl. In addition, masks will be required to enter Tiger Stadium. Football team's going to walk down Victory Hill at 10:30 on Saturday morning.
I didn't know they did all that.
Yeah, it's going to be so it's a free National L Club Spring Game poster and roster card will be distributed to fans as they enter the stadium. Concession stands will be open on the south concourses of Tiger Stadium. No official number on this on Saturday as far as attendance goes. In the past, we have seen LSU officials urge as many people as possible to get out. They've almost wanted to turn this thing into a quasi game day. We've seen Alabama put 90,000 in their stadium for spring games.
Really?
Yes.
They pack them out.
Which I remember LSU's administration was trying to follow that blueprint and urge that. I remember being on a public platform at the time urging South Louisiana citizens not to fall in that number because I think it's embarrassing to see 90,000 at a spring game.
Why
I mean, like, there's gotta be something else to do in the city,
just
right?
Super fans. I mean, there are a lot of fans.
That's Alabama.
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's Alabama. Think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to be compared to anything that's loyal to the Alabama fan base.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And if it means 90,000 showing up for a spring game, I'm out.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there's got to be something else to do in this. And what are you going to learn at a spring game, especially one that is televised on the SEC network? Do you think Ed Ogeron is going to show you his new offense on Saturday?
Not a shot.
To give Florida's defense. Defense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you show up? Why would 90,000 show up? I understand that. Look, man.
See, Tiger Man.
If I got my kid, if I got Jay, And if I got my two little nieces, that's a great spot to just take them out there, let them run around, and let me see a couple of new names and faces that are going to be contributing in the fall. But if you're showing up thinking that you're going to see what Durante Jones is going to be doing on 3rd and longs, if you're going to think you're getting an idea of what DJ Mangus is going to have an impact on the passing game and what the play calls are going to be like with Peets and Mangus now, all that stuff is happening today. Right? Like that stuff's happening today on the practice field. The stuff that we can't see. The stuff that they're going to roll out there on Saturday is going to be nothing but fluff. I mean, there'll be some stuff from some competition battles of some guys that you'll be able to see that they're looking at in certain rotations, 1st, 2nd, 3rd stringers at certain spots. But you're not going to learn anything about the LSU football team as far as what they're going to look like next season watching the spring game.
No, but people couldn't go last season, so they're probably so excited just to get to go.
I'm personally starved for some Tiger Stadium action.
Yeah, lots of people are.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many people do you think are going to be in there?
20,000.
Well, how many are allowed? I mean, they're not
the lower bowl. It's just the lower bowl.
Yeah, they're only opening the lower bowl.
It's just the lower bowl, which I don't know what the capacity of the lower bowl is officially.
So are you allowed to go?
But I would imagine that 20,000 could be socially distanced within the lower bowl.
Oh yeah, I think you could get 40,000 socially distanced because you got let's say the upper decks are 20K a piece. That leaves you 70-ish total, maybe.
Yeah,
that's probably an overestimation, but.
But I mean, I would say 20,000. I mean, I would think that would be my guess.
Yeah.
For Saturday.
So with season tickets, are you allowed to go with your own season tickets?
No, it's free admission.
Yeah, you just walk in.
Yeah, you just.
So you don't go to your regular seats or anything.
No.
They auctioned off some stuff.
I've clearly
last time
never
I was
been
there.
to a spring game,
Wonder if they're
guys.
doing that again.
No, I mean but it just kind of, if you take it for what it is, right? Like, I mean, you just go out there and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the experience, and I mean, kind of embrace it. It's a great day, especially if it's a good looking day. Yeah, man. If the weather's right.
I think people are going to be excited to go. I think there's going to be more attendance than we think, and they just kind of there's a new scent to the Tiger Stadium and to LSU football. People are going to want to see just to see if the offense looks a little different. Yeah, we had to get a little. We stunk a little last year. A little BO on that squad. We showered up.
Well, and they've also planned it perfectly with other events on campus. South Carolina baseball game and LSU play a 3-game set beginning on Thursday this week. So it'll be actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't really know how South Carolina is officially. But the game is scheduled for 2:00 on Saturday between LSU South Carolina, and that'll be the 3rd game of the series. And LSU is scheduled to play their spring game just around that same time. Did they officially give a time? I'm looking at the gates will open up at 11 a.m. They'll walk down Victory Hill at 10:30 a.m.
I have my itinerary
on
right
Saturday.
Here. I'll pull it up.
We got it. Yeah, we got inside info over there.
Let's see.
So y'all are in the. So the band will be there. So will y'all be in the lower bowl?
Yeah, we're gonna be where we were in last football season.
The whole band?
Yeah, no, not the whole band, but most of the drum line, as far as I know, only have that roster. 12 noon kickoff.
Okay, so there you go, man.
Nooner.
Perfect. Get you a noon kickoff between in the LSU spring game, and then you walk across the street to the box for a 2:00 first pitch. See, that's the
perfect
type.
timing.
That's
perfect.
That's
timing.
the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Like a family day. You're looking for. You don't have a lot going on. I mean, Little Jay's in a basketball gym all weekend playing AAU tournaments. So, I mean, for somebody there's a lot of people out there that are going to be playing baseball all weekend, like Katie. I mean, all of her kids are playing baseball this weekend coming up. But if there are people out there that don't have anything to do and they're looking for a way to spend the day, a spring game combined with an LSU baseball game in South Louisiana where the sun's out and you got good vibes is a perfect way to do it.
Starting to sound a little dangerous.
Remember they had they had like a mini fair outside the one in 2019. You remember that?
No.
It was had a Ferris wheel and stuff, and that was cool.
That's where they were trying to get the 80,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were trying to find. They had live music. They had.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty sweet.
I agree, but they still couldn't get it. Remember, for all.
Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah.
All of what they were trying to push and get, they were trying to be competitive with Alabama and the people.
Market.
And Georgia, remember Kirby Smart got to Georgia. He put all the fans in the spring game. They wanted to see that type of that support.
I remember the pictures coming out from around the SEC. It was crazy.
It was nuts.
The stadiums were full.
Yeah, right. Turns out people in South Louisiana just have stuff to do. Have a life. You know what I mean?
Kids have
Thank
stuff
God.
on Saturdays. I mean, there's no way I could make anything like this
No.
on a spring Saturday.
We will have representation there for the Jordy Culotta show on Saturday. As Nick said, he'll be in the, drum line. But Ron, our guy Ron Riggs,
Okay.
is going to be credentialed, and he'll be at the spring game doing some social media for us. So we will have a presence with LSU. What are you looking for? What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing you want answered coming out of spring? If you are an LSU football fan, is there anything in particular that you want to see, you have to see Saturday in the spring game that gives you the peace of mind that says, okay, now I'm really looking towards the fall? If I answered that question, I would say it would be LSU just getting an identity, just who you are, who you want to be on both sides of the ball. I thought last season was an identity crisis for LSU. Much of what they suffered pre-Ed Ogeron. I thought that was always kind of the storyline of LSU. Who are you? You recruit one quarterback, but you want to run a different style of offense. You recruit a certain type of athlete to play defense, yet you want to play a 4-3. It's whatever your identity. The 2019 team, to me, is uncomparable in asking the same type of outcome and the same results. I'm not asking for the 2019 national championship run ever again, because I realize that is so much of an outlier in the sport and it's so tough to do. But the 2019, what they did and some of the things that they did so well, I think you can pick from. And one thing that they did great is they had an identity. You knew who they were on both sides of the ball. And for LSU coming out of spring or going into this week's spring game, I hope that the groundwork and the foundation of that is being laid going into the offseason, the summer, and into fall camp, where you can start to really fertilize that and let it grow. And once you open up the season in Los Angeles next September, you really have an idea of who you are going into the season. Now you continually refine that week in, week out by competition. But for LSU's sake, I hope that at least the foundation and the baseline is being laid on who the identity of the program, who the identity of the team, what the identity of the team is going to be next fall. I mean, I think that is a year-long process. Each year in, year out. And I think each team has a different identity. But overall, the LSU football program has to identify themselves with a playing method, with a certain type of athlete, with what they want to run on offense, with who they want to be on defense, with how they want their special teams to look. All that stuff needs to say to be being input, inserted, and developed right now. So I'm not looking for much on Saturday.
They're not going to see much.
And you're not going to see much. But you will be able to see who they want to be and who they are becoming. I've heard Jake Peets talk a little bit about running the football, how he wants to get back to running the football because the strength of this particular team could be with the offensive line, with the veteran experience that they have there on that unit. You should be able to see some of that on Saturday, right? Because the offensive line, defensive line battles in this game on Saturday, in particular, if there is anything that I would be looking at specifically, it would be that group, right? Because by all accounts, everything that's going on with Andre Carter's group on the defensive line is pretty scary right now.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, like the amount of names, the rotation, the guys that are stepping up. Mason Smith, you continually hear his name. If there's one thing that you want to go see on Saturday, I would think that one of the top things for everybody would be Mason Smith.
Number 0, baby. Let's go.
I mean, the true freshman.
Digit.
Yeah.
Defensive lineman. Let's go.
True freshman out of Terrebonne. And I didn't correct myself a couple of weeks back when we were talking about Smith. I think we said that he was from Thibodaux High School. He's from Terrebonne High School down there on the bayou. Man, I had him after me.
I think everyone in the bunker corrected that.
They did, but I don't think I said it. I don't think I said it publicly. I don't think I said it on the platform. But I mean, like by all accounts, he's been unblockable at times. So you'll get your first look at him. So that there are some things, right? There are kind of like some singular individual pieces that you'll look forward to seeing. But as far as the offensive line, defensive line battle, I think that's the one. I mean, you'll see some you'll see some one-on-one, some Derek Stingley versus Kayshon Boutte. You'll see some Bug Strong, the new linebacker, getting a chance to play. Coy Moore, by all accounts, is having a fantastic spring. But Glenn Logan, Neil Farrell, Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby and Guillory, Joe Evans, those guys going up against that offensive line, coming back with all that experience and all that, all that veteran leadership. That's really what I'm looking forward to seeing on Saturday and seeing how those guys duke it out. So, and as Travis McGraw says, no injuries.
Yeah, obviously no
injuries.
Jamal Pettigrew situation. Please.
No injuries, man. And just keep this thing light.
Yeah, I think the game is almost ancillary at this point. I think people just want to get out and get a feel for Tiger Stadium again. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I want to go because I want to get the sights, the smells, see some people,
I think that's
and just see the stadium again because it's been a year.
I'm always in a better mood when I'm in Tiger Stadium.
It just feels nice, at least pregame, that it's open and it's like there'll be football on the field. It's just gonna everything coming full circle feels great.
Yeah. Daily, we're brought to you by Elevate Treatment Center. Remember, Elevate Treatment Center is located in Baton Rouge, just off of Jefferson Highway. Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center, dedicated to treating patients who are battling drug and alcohol addiction, and their goal is to guide you in your steps towards recovery and help you achieve and maintain sobriety. They're a treatment center located in South Louisiana. They provide treatment of addiction disorders and behavioral illnesses in adults. Let them help you today. You can begin your treatment online by logging on to elevatetreatment.com. That's ELEV, the number 8, treatment.com. If you need to make the call today for yourself or a loved one, get in touch with Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center, online elevatetreatment.com. When we come back, we'll talk to Hunt Palmer, some of the storylines that Hunt is looking forward to watching on Saturday. What about this LSU baseball team? They're back in action tonight. Grambling State is in town on a Tuesday for a 6:30 first pitch. Coming up tonight at the Box. South Carolina will be in town this weekend for a 3-game set beginning on Thursday versus LSU. What was Hunt's big takeaway versus Kentucky? We'll ask him next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Relief Health, the only way to get your health care in 2021. In your home or on site, Relief is changing how health care is delivered to you. No more doctor's offices, no more waiting rooms. Download the app today, Relief Health, from the Apple or Google app stores. You can get connected to a local doctor in your community or just order a test directly without talking to a doctor. Their COVID tests are live, and right now they have the Moderna vaccine. Online at reliefhealth.com or download the app from your Apple or Google app stores now. Relief Health, changing the way that healthcare is brought to you in 2021. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Back into the Jordy Culotta Show presented by GEAUX Chevrolet. Rob Boudreaux inside the bunker. It just feels like one big long off season since 2019 in my mind. 2020 never happened. It's a good way to think of it. Brandon Hollingsworth, I just hope both teams have fun on Saturday. They're definitely going to have fun.
Sweet, Brandon.
Yeah. Everybody gets a trophy, huh? Stutter Bob, Jordy, are you and Moscona getting together after the spring game? That would be fun. I don't think that he's allowed to do that. Hunt Palmer of the LSU Sports Radio Network. We talk to him every week here, every Tuesday here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by GEAUX Chevrolet. Hunt, what are you looking for this Saturday in the spring game?
I'm pro spring game. Get out there and watch a little football. It doesn't mean anything. None of the statistics matter and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go watch Jay Ward play safety, see how he comes down and plays and runs for it a little bit. If he can cover some ground in the back end. I want to watch Mason Smith. I hope Miles is healthy and the ball looks good coming out of his hands. Obviously, he's not going to be taking any hits. But, you can't really draw much of anything from it, but it's an afternoon in Tiger Stadium. The weather's good. Band's playing. Serve you a hot dog. Nothing wrong with that.
How do you view 2020 going into 2021 from LSU's football point of view? What do you view the last 24 months of LSU football like?
Well, the good news is that the bad performance on the field didn't really hurt your recruiting class. You signed a really good class. You got some of them already on campus, and you didn't have a mass exodus. I think, one of the things when you have a season like 2019, most people think their work in college is done, if that's possible, and they're just going to get on with it and get to the next level. And then quite the opposite, when you have a bad season, a lot of people come back. I can point directly to Alabama losing their 2 regular season games for the first time in 9 years a couple of years ago, and that sent Najee Harris and Devontae Smith and Dylan Moses, all those guys back to school. And they ended up having a great team. It's just, and I watched it with the 2011 team. The mindset on that team, the guys who were older went, and then the guys who were younger on that team saw that model, and they couldn't get out the door fast enough when that time came. So I think that what happened is you got a lot of guys back. You signed a good recruiting class. There's still a lot of talent. They got to put 2 new systems in, one on each side of the ball, but I don't think that it's some sort of devastating blow for the program. It was just a really bad 4 months.
Mason Smith, I heard a lot about him over the last couple of weeks. What do you anticipate from this freshman? I know that it's tough to put it is tough to put pressure on a true freshman in the defensive line in the SEC. But when you hear what you've been hearing about him, what do you expect from him in his freshman season?
Well, the good news is it's not a situation. I bring this up all the time. What you want a freshman to, you want the landing point, especially on the defensive line, to be kind of what Freak Johnson had. He came in with all that hype, all that talent, but the starting 2 guys up front were Michael Brockers and Benny Logan, and Josh Downs was a veteran who filled in right behind them. And they need him to come in and give you, 11, 12 snaps. in a game. The opposite of that is, and not that he came in with nearly as much fanfare, but Christian Lockiter came in 2 years later, and basically they said, yeah, we need you to play like 50 snaps a game. That's not a good landing spot for a freshman on the defensive line. And the good news for Mason Smith is they've got guys up front with Logan, Farrell, Roy that have played a lot of football, and while he may prove himself to be one of the best two guys or the best guy, and they want him to play a ton of snaps, they may be able to ease him in. And so, you're not going to learn much of that on Saturday, but that's the reality of the situation. There's a lot of veterans in front of him that have played a lot and are ready physically to play, and he can, kind of give the team what he's ready to give, not necessarily what the team needs from him.
Hunt, what did you think of the Masters? We just had a photo of you out playing golf, right? Was that him in the photo?
Yeah,
we just had a good shot of you playing golf.
Is that at Pebble Beach?
Do you
is
even
it my
know?
Twitter profile?
Yes.
Yeah, that's at Cypress Point. That was a good day,
Lord.
and I made a par on that hole. 215-yard carry over the cliff.
I mean,
Great photo.
But no, the Masters, it got interesting there on 15, but it was basically kind of a snoozer on Sunday because of how well Matsuyama played down the stretch on Saturday after the rain delay, and how the guys just weren't able to mount a comeback. Now, Schauffele made a couple of birdies and then rinsed it on 16, which is just a really poor shot. There's so much room behind that 10 to throw the ball and have it come back. To leave it 10 yards short on that hole is just a really poor decision. But, I think it's a really big deal for worldwide golf that Matsuyama won. He's a huge, huge deal in Japan. And to have an entire country, rally behind that and very likely, put some interest into younger people into playing golf is a really, really good thing. But at the same time, for a viewer, and it's someone who is drawn in by emotion and all that kind of stuff, Matsuyama's not that guy. And, he knocks in the last putt and then kind of takes his hat off and walks off the green. And you want to see a guy kind of break down and lose it or fist pump or go nuts, and there just wasn't much of that because that's not in his personality. And then the fact is, for a viewer here, you'd like to get some of that emotion in a post-round interview, and the language is tough for him. Now, he's much better than I would ever be at any foreign language. That took 10 years of Spanish and can't even say a sentence. So I'm not blaming him at 1 second for not, but the fact of the matter is that Jim Nance asked him a question, and his answer to the interpreter was, "I'm very happy." It's just tough. So, and for a viewer, the entertainment value wasn't quite what it could be, but he's an excellent player and was going to win a major very likely one of these years when the putter cooperated, and his iron play was so good on Saturday that he barely even needed the putter. He was certainly a worthy winner.
Yeah, the most emotion we saw was from the caddy taking a bow to Augusta.
that was awesome. Cool. That was very, very cool to see that. I mean, it was even more of a perspective thing when, Hideki spotted in the airport yesterday morning walking through the Chicago airport with the green jacket just draped over his arm. I saw somebody tweet out, like, "You think he's going to hang it in the little coat rack at the front of the plane?"
I mean, it was such a cool picture, man, of him just like sitting over there scrolling through his phone with the green jacket draped over his chair.
That'll be carry on.
Yeah, right. Hunt, got a couple of baseball questions for you coming in here. Stephen Miller wants to know, hey, Hunt, what's the explanation on why Will Helmers didn't pitch on Sunday, but starting him tonight versus Grambling?
I don't know. Monero was asked about it and kind of said those are decisions I make during the game, and he's got the autonomy to make those type of decisions. Going to Hasty the way he did, and it got away from him there with some hits. And I'd like to see Helmers help you on the weekend. I mean, I've made that pretty clear. So that's probably someone I would have gone to. Paul just didn't see it as the spot there. So I don't have a great answer.
What was your biggest takeaway from the two games they took away from Kentucky and Lexington?
Well, they swung the bat a little bit, and that's what they had to do. You got to show up and hit some of these lower-level staffs. Vanderbilt's in the rearview mirror, Mississippi State's in the rearview mirror. You got to show up and swing it, and they did for the first 2 days, and had a little bit of a punch there on the third day. So that's important. They've got to continue to hit the ball and lengthen that lineup. Thompson is swinging the bat a little bit better. He's showing me something. He really is. He's solidified the shortstop spot on defense, which was a huge problem early in the year. He's starting to hit it a little bit. We kind of feel really good about Cruz and Morgan, but to have Thompson kind of assert himself as a third guy in this freshman class who can really swing it. You have hopes that Dross continues to come on. Doty's just a sophomore. You got him for another year. So the there's some youth that's starting to make a push here. They got to continue that for the next few weeks.
What did you make of the pitching?
I thought Marceau was good. Again, did his job. Labus worked deep into the game, and the bullpen kind of let him down there for sure. Fontenot seems to have found his groove. They're still not quite what we thought they were depth-wise. Beck being out hurts them. Obviously, Hilliard hasn't been what we thought he could be this year. Vittmeyer hasn't been a high-leverage guy, and those are guys who have gotten big outs for him in the past. And maybe the most interesting thing was Money's start. And for me, he missed a lot of bats, which is a good thing. When the fastball played, he just missed his spots sometimes, and they hit it out of the yard a couple times, which is going to happen when you make mistakes in this league. But, he showed me he's got the stuff to go in there against an SEC team and strike some guys out and look the part. And it's not a spot that we thought anybody would be in because they thought the 1, 2, 3 in the rotation was going to be as, solidified all year. But with Hill going out, somebody's got to step up. And I didn't think Money did anything to make me believe he certainly can't do it.
Hunt, is Cade Belisca starting to figure it out?
I hope so. You would think that he wasn't going to go through a whole year hitting 200. And they need him to lengthen that lineup. They've had 3 or 4 guys hit with the 2 freshmen and GEAUX and Jordy, but they need Thompson to come on, and certainly Belisca seems like a guy who could be that. And he's hit SEC pitching at a 300 clip before. We just got to see it again. And they've said they've made some tweaks to him mechanically. That's a good sign, and a little confidence goes a long way. So. Again, a South Carolina team coming in this weekend, it's not an elite pitching staff. You would think that that'd be more opportunity for guys like Belisca and the entire lineup to continue to swing it.
Where is South Carolina from a baseball standpoint right now? Because at one point they were one of the classes of the SEC alongside LSU, right?
Yeah, the record's good. They still got Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt to play. I know they played Vanderbilt, but they still got Ole Miss and Arkansas coming up the next 2 weeks, and Mississippi State coming up after that. So there's still some bumps in the road for them, but they went and swept Florida, and did a good job of taking 2-3 from Missouri. They're a good team. Are they quite as good as their record indicates at this point? Probably not. They'll start their best pitcher in game 2, whenever that is, depending weather this weekend. Their leadoff guy has 6 homers and leads them in steals too, and is hitting 330 something in an SEC play. But they've only got 3 guys hitting 300 in the league. It's a pretty good team, but I'm not sure that it's a top 8 national seed type team.
Hunt Palmer joining us here from the LSU Sports Radio Network. LSU will begin a 3-game slate versus South Carolina Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the SEC Network viewers coming up this week. Hunt, you mentioned Jordan Thompson, and he was one of these freshmen that came in this highly heralded class. And I know that you touched on it a little bit, but his consistent play, especially defensively, I know that offensively he's gaining a lot of attention, but he's been so steady defensively, in my opinion, in a position that they had a big question mark in the season. Did they not anticipate that he was going to be the guy at this point, in your opinion?
There were issues in the fall that, not just him. No one in the fall proved they could play defense on the left side in SEC play. And that's why you saw Pulmonary kind of panic and put Will Helmers at third base. They saw enough in practice before the season started from everyone to go, we don't have anybody that can play shortstop or third base. And from repetition, and from getting into game action, you've seen some guys kind of assert themselves. They threw Dirty over there at third. He's been just fine. And Thompson, who was a high school shortstop and was brought here to be a shortstop, has kind of settled into that position. The arm's never been an issue. He's got a cannon. His hands are pretty good. It was just a matter of getting that arm honed in and making accurate throws and making some of the more routine plays. And I think he's done that. And so that's something that you expect a freshman to do, is be able to come in and play some defense. It's whether or not the bat follows. And his has started to. And he hit some home runs early, but you can tell by looking at his frame that that's not going to be his game in SEC play as a freshman. He may grow into some power, but he just needs to hit the ball hard the other way, singles, hit some doubles in the gap, and be a solid defensive player. And he's starting to grow into that.
I don't know if you heard Will Wade here yesterday morning, but he was talking about his commitment to recruiting the transfer portal. And yesterday afternoon, Missouri guard Xavier Pinson announced he was choosing LSU, the junior guard from Chicago, after starting all 28 games last season for Missouri. He's entered the portal and going to end up in Baton Rouge. What do you anticipate LSU looking like next season, on the basketball front, and what do you think of this new wave of recruiting as it storms the sport through the transfer portal?
Well, he checked one huge box because somebody tweeted at me and said, your new point guard from the south side of Chicago, you worried you got a Sox fan running the point, and his mom jumped in and saw it and said, no, west side of Chicago, Cubs fan. I said, all right, we're in good shape now. So we're moving forward to championship pedigree from a championship organization like the Chicago Cubs. But Pinson is probably the biggest name that was on the transfer block in the SEC. And you could make a case maybe for Noah Locke, but Pinson is probably a better player. He's not necessarily the most efficient scorer, but he is a scorer. He's a double-figure scorer and starter in the SEC. And you plug him in, and he starts right away from day one. And when you look at LSU's team coming back, you look at games, his biggest contributions are on the defensive end of the floor. You think Jalen Cook, you think him an on-ball defender at this point in his career. Milwaukee Wilkinson is a rebounder and a shot blocker. Josh LeBlanc's bigger contributions are on the defensive side of the floor. They need to find some guys that can score because all your scoring's out the door. And Pinson can do that. He's not a great shooter. But he's a scorer, and he does knock down some threes. He scored over 30 points a couple times in Missouri's career. He scored 27 on Tennessee this past year, which was as good a defensive team as there was in the league. That's why he's here, and he's gonna be a plug and play guy to score. They still. This is not inside information. This is just a guess based on the state of college basketball. I don't think everyone who finished the season on LSU's roster that has remaining eligibility is going to be back on the team next year. Now, they may surprise me, and that may be the case, but I think some of LSU guys may explore the transfer portal as well, and that leaves Will Wade to go out and continue to fill a couple more spots in the transfer portal. I mean, you saw Auburn get the 7-footer from North Carolina yesterday. They're going to be a really good team next year, and LSU's got to continue to supplement what's a nice little core, but you've got to go get some offense, and I think, as he mentioned to you yesterday, got to find somebody who's 6'9", 230 pounds that has started games at the collegiate level that can be some sort of presence around the rim.
So I saw a story over the weekend about Augusta. A guy went and played, and he made a hole-in-one, and of course, you know, Augusta's very strict. They allowed a photo. So Augusta takes the photo, keeps it, and then about a month later, he gets something in the mail from Augusta National, and it's a rendering of the photo. They did a hand painting of it, and then they asked him if he wants to buy it. It's $50,000.
Oh my God!
They said he went back and forth about it for a while, and it said he's like, I mean, I don't know why. Like, that's a big chunk of change, but I don't know when else am I going to have this opportunity. Tells Augusta, yeah, I'll stroke the check. Sends him a check. He gets the painting in the mail with an invitation to become a member at Augusta because they said he showed his commitment to how much that place means to him. So if you ever get an opportunity like that, I'm just letting the world know. Wow. If they send you something, just say yes to Augusta, and something good might come back your way.
Hunt, would you scratch 50? Would you scratch $50K to Augusta National today? The state that you're in right now, a newlywed, good job underneath you, working for the network. Somehow you end up there and blast a hole in one. They need $50K from you without knowing you're going to be a member. What do you do?
Alyssa, it's been a great couple months of marriage here. We're going to have to put the house on the market. My aunt and uncle live down the street. We can crash with them for a bit until we get our feet back on the ground. But we're gonna get through this together. That shout out to folks on 16 that found the bottom of the jar. We're gonna have to come up with some fun.
Woo! I love it, Hunt. Garrett Nussmeier's making a pitch. Last one, we'll get you out of here. What do you anticipate from this rookie quarterback? Because I'm hearing that he is making a splash every day in practice.
Well, just from the tape I've seen him, he's such a good athlete. He moves around real good, throws on the run a lot. He's just a good athlete back there playing quarterback. He's not that 6'5", gunslinger back there. He can move, and so hopefully we see him on the move a little bit, showing his arm strength and having a little bit of fun. I mean, what's more fun as a quarterback and playing in the spring game? They can't hit you. So just go back there and try to make some plays. I'd love to see him. I think he's probably a couple years away from helping the team, but I'll be watching on Saturday.
Hunt Palmer, LSU Sports Radio Network. Have a great weekend, buddy. Thank you for the time this morning.
I got to see y'all.
All right, there he is, Hunt Palmer checking in this morning. As daily, we're brought to you by AdvantaClean. Remember, water, fire, mold. You see it around the house. You smell it around the office. Get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at AdvantaClean. Call him this morning, 225-3 369-5228. 369-5228 is how you dial him straight. But if you want to get in touch with him online, log on to AdvantaClean.com. Water, fire, mold. If you see it, smell it around the house, around the office, it's going to be a bad phone call. But once you make that phone call, Lynch is going to take the headaches away. He's going to work directly with the construction company. He's going to work directly with the insurance company, and he's going to make sure that that this is cleaned up. I always tell the personal testimony, and I know if you listen to the show daily, you're probably tired of hearing it, but I just want everybody to hear the commitment level that Lynch has to his customer, to making sure that the job is done correctly. I just sent him a picture, texted him a picture of a water stain on one of my bedroom ceilings inside my house on Christmas Day, and didn't even put any verbiage with it. Just kind of sent it to him and said maybe something like, "We'll talk about this, after the holidays." He texts me directly back, and within the hour, he's at my house. He's diagnosing the problem. He's telling me what I need to do. He's got the contractors lined up. He's got the insurance company lined up, ready to work directly with those people. And this was on Christmas Day. So it's just a testimony to give you an idea of the commitment that Lynch has to making sure that your water, fire, and mold damages is taken care of thoroughly and on time. So, I mean, this is not something that you want to wait on, right? I mean, if you wake up and you have water on your socks from water in your carpet, you want to make sure that it's taken care of today.
Water on your socks.
And Bradley Lynch will take care of it today. 369-5228-225 area code. When we come back, we'll close out hour number one. We'll get set up for Frank Wilson. Always looking forward to the energy that Coach Wilson brings in to the Jordy Culotta show as he'll stop by, talk about a short off season now as McNeese has got this regular season, this spring regular season behind them, and they are looking forward to the fall. What are some of the changes that has to be made for the Pokes before fall camp opens up? Coach Wilson will tell us here in about 7 minutes on the Jordy Culotta show. Health, the only way to get your health care in 2021. In your home or on site, Relief is changing how health care is delivered to you. No more doctor's offices, no more waiting rooms. Download the app today, Relief Health, from the Apple or Google app stores. You can get connected to a local doctor in your community or just order a test directly without talking to a doctor. Their COVID tests are live, and right now they have the Moderna vaccine. Online at reliefhealth.com or download the app from your Apple or Google app stores now. Relief Health, changing the way that healthcare is brought to you in 2021. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Good stuff from Hunt Palmer, the LSU Sports Radio Network. We're going to talk to Frank Wilson here in a couple of minutes on the Jordy Culotta Show. Good stuff from Hunt talking about LSU baseball, spring football, LSU basketball, changing their identity going into next season, as Coach Wade told us yesterday. Appreciate Coach Wade for stopping by. Remember, every time Coach Wade's here is brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Xavier Pinson, the latest addition to LSU's roster, as Coach told us yesterday. He's going to scour the transfer portal. The latest to pop up there was a combo guard over at Missouri, Xavier Pinson, and he committed to LSU via Instagram yesterday. Good
Instagram.
Good
Isn't
reaction.
that weird? That's
it
how
is.
it happens.
That's the way
I
you
mean,
do it
it's
now.
their own press conference. Don't need us, man. Steph Curry became the all-time leading scorer in Golden State Warrior history last night.
Just a little 50 burger.
Did you think that he already had that?
No, I knew about all.
Did you?
Yeah,
I knew about
I was
Wilt
surprised.
Still.
Passed up Wilt Chamberlain last night. Showed you how good Wilt was. I mean, do you even recognize Wilt as a Warrior? When you think of him?
That was like my thing. It was like I read that caption. And I was like, Steph wasn't the all-time scorer, and then you think about
same.
Wilt, and it's kind of like you were talking about this morning, Jordy. It's kind of like
A testament to his greatness.
and kind of similar to Pete Maravich's stat of how he's still the all-time scorer in NCAA history without a three-point line. And you were saying how Wilt didn't have one too, and I thought that was kind of a similar vein.
6 years Wilt spent with the Warriors, from 59 to 64, where he was just dominant. I mean, my God. Some of his numbers, man, are just stupid to look at what he was averaging. He averaged no less than 36 as a Warrior with no two-point shot. Wow. In 1962, he averaged 52 points. He averaged 50 points a game.
How do you coach that?
That is just.
I mean, every time he goes out, he's getting you 50.
It's like what?
Last night, Steph had 50. In passing up the record, and Steph again had 10 3-pointers. It was the 19th time that he hit 10 3-pointers in his career.
That's amazing. 53
points last night for Steph in a 116-107 win over the Denver Nuggets. Scary moment for Jamal Murray in that game, as it looks like he could have suffered a knee injury. I don't want to speculate, but it looks like he was limping. And his knee gave out on a drive last night against Golden State. But
I was watching it live. It looked bad.
It did look bad. But Steph Curry, 14 of 24 from the field, 10 of 18 from behind the arc. That was the 18th game that he made 10 3-pointers. But last night passes up Wilt Chamberlain and becomes the all-time scoring leader in Golden State Warrior history. A couple of things there. I mean, a testament to Wilt's greatness, because I don't even recognize Wilt as a Warrior. I kind of almost forgot about that part of his career. Not that, I mean, like, none of us in this room watched him play, so I mean, it's not like we saw him firsthand, but I mean, he's such a recognizable figure within the history of the NBA. I mean, I just really recognize him as a Laker.
Right.
And, I think obviously he spent some time in Philly, but I mean, he was only in LA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the last 5 years of his career. But as we said, he spent the first 6 in Golden State with the Warriors. And last night, Steph Curry passes him up. I just think that Steph Curry is he's such a pro, man. I mean, he is a pro's pro with the way that he approaches the game, the way that his story and where he's come from, and to the success that he has night in, night out is just, it's incredible to see a guy of his size, his stature, have the impact on the game that he does. There's Frank Wilson dialing us up.
Let's go.
Absolutely. The man has the man knows how to make an entrance. Frank Wilson of McNeese, the head coach of the Post. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing good.
Doing great. Head into the off season, Coach. Look, I know the outcome wasn't what you wanted on Saturday, but this spring season now is officially in the rearview mirror, and you get your program set to play in the fall. Only about 150 days in between the next time, but before you play. What was your biggest takeaway of the last 6 weeks?
Learning our team.
Yeah.
You know, we came into this with a view of what we thought we had and what we thought we may be. But then you play it out and you see the identity of the team. You see the character of the team, the strengths, the weaknesses, and all of the above. And it was critical for us to be able to play. Although it was spring football for us, it was a learning curve because it was spring football with games attached. And it gave us a chance to gauge. And we played the number 5 team in the country last week in Sam Houston, who was averaging over 50 points a game. And I like the way our team played. It was not the outcome. It was not a moral victory, but it at least tells us that with a quarter remaining and we're going into score and it's a 14-point game, exactly where we would be. And to hold that opponent the way we did defensively and to move the ball up and down the field the way that we did, we're not that far off. And so I like the Cowboys. I like the position that we're in, and I think we're an ascending program, that we're headed in the right direction. A lot of work to do, but we look at the teams in this conference, very talented teams, very well-coached teams, and given the parameters that we had to deal with, we showed up and we competed to the best of our ability, and we'll be better because of it. And I think the fall you'll see us play our best football. Yeah,
without question. The buzz on the streets has even reached the capital city here in our state and in Baton Rouge, with people talking about what's happening with McNeese football and how people are paying attention and future recruits are interested in learning more on either becoming a Poke or what it takes to become a Cowboy. Coach, you're the head coach of that program, obviously, and you're the leader. Your team may spend more time with the strength coach. You have to hire one in this offseason. What do you look for in that position, and what is the responsibility of that position within your program?
Huge responsibility. Besides the head coach, that's the only one person that commands your entire team in an off season. And so we get into we'll take a couple of weeks off right here to rest and recuperate. We'll go through a national search. We'll get that done at the back end of this week. We'll start that process at least. We have a lot of very talented candidates that we're looking at. And so we'll go through that because it's just such a critical hire, not just their know-how from a sports science perspective and kinesiology perspective and understanding how to develop muscle tone, speed, et cetera, to get us bigger, faster, stronger, but the fit, the ability to be able to communicate effectively with our student athletes, to be able to inspire them to want to crave to get into the weight room, into our off-season program. We like to replicate the ones that do it best. And you look at some programs, much like the one in Baton Rouge, where NFL guys come back every summer. And I always thought in my time in Baton Rouge that was just such a beautiful thing, that they don't go other places. They come back to Tommy Moffitt, and they go get it in, and they revert back to what got them to where they were. And that's our aspiration, to build our strength conditioning program to a point that it's so valuable to our student athletes that they come back even once they're professionals to get a piece of the grind of what it took to get them there, that it's hard but fair, and that you embraced all the sweat, blood, and tears that come with it. And so this guy will have to have the duality, the multiplicity of understanding it from a scientific standpoint, but also inspiring and motivating our players to want to do it at a high level.
Your off season, the way that it kind of falls in line, feels much like a normal off season, with the way that your schedule is ending here in the middle of April, much like a spring drill would in years. Now, your roster would turn over. Is the schedule of your program, is it on pace to where you like it as far as getting ready for next fall? I know it's not ideal of where you're coming from, but as far as the schedule goes.
Yeah, and so what happens for us, this week we'll start our rest and recovery sessions, all right? And so much like a spring football, we would in the past, in the month of May, kind of go in a relaxed mode coming straight out of a season. Our relaxed mode will be in these last 3 weeks of April, first week of May. But because we're still behind, we got to get going in May.
Right.
And so our strength and conditioning program will get going in May, opposed to the first week in June, what traditionally guys do, just because of when we finish, the amount of weeks we'll be off through final exams, and giving respect to when we need to start again to advantage ourselves. It's an area that's greatly needed for us. We got to get stronger. We got to get bigger to be able to compete. And so that's kind of our plan there. Again, a little different, but similar to the way that we've done it in the past. Add on a couple of weeks, another 4 weeks, which will advantage us that is much needed for our football team, because we didn't have it in the fall. We didn't have it last spring, and so we're still catching up a bit. But I think we'll be able to hit it in stride and continue to develop our football team. You've got great relationships within the industry. Where do you start with your defensive coordinator search? I look at what we did at the back end of the season here. We'll start internally. Mm-hmm. And look at some of the guys that were able. Certainly, we did it as a group, but we did have a play caller that called the plays for us. And for me, Jordy, predominantly my career was spent on the offensive side. Sure. When our situation happened, our defensive coordinator is now in Pittsburgh. I moved, and so for this entire spring season, I was in the defensive meeting and assisting with our defensive staff, and got a view of. It was good. It gave me a view of our staff and guys and their strengths, which I already knew to an extent, but really got to see it be practical and then and thrust in a game mode. And so I like some of the things that we did defensively. We'll continue to monitor it. We'll start internally and expand if need be to go get the best fit for our football team. This is when you do your work, man. This is when you go into overdrive with the off-season recruiting and the cavalry coming in the class and in the fall. How does recruiting take precedent right now, and where does it fit in as far as your priorities and your day-to-day schedule go? The first thing every morning. Yep. We go staff first thing in the morning, and for the next 4 hours until 4 to 5 hours until lunch, it's all recruiting. Balls to the wall, baby. All gas, no brakes. The only way I can figure it with you, man. And you start in the border of the state first, right? Inside out. We do. Yep. We do, and so we have a portion of the morning dedicated to evaluations and write-ups and things of that nature. And then every day we take an hour of the day for each area coach, position coach, to call his area high school coaches. And so over the next 4 to 5 weeks, we'll be engaged with our high school coaches. That's a critical part for us, our relationship with our high school coaches. And so we spend an hour of the day doing it. The other time is spent evaluating, recruiting, texting, DMing, and doing all that with prospect and things of that nature. But we do carve out an hour each day to communicate with our high school coaches as well. But that'll be every day. We get in about 7 or 8 o'clock. We gather together, and we go from 8 to 12 recruiting every morning. I know that you're only going to play by the rules and the regulations of what they give you, but do you anticipate getting some on-campus stuff back, some camps, some visits, some things that you can be able to really relationship build? Yeah, we're looking at that. It's kind of it's something we sincerely want to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we'll be able to get it done. You kind of have guests over to your house, but you got a leak here and the toilet broke here, and so let's just wait till we spruce everything up to be able to put our best foot forward. And so the players that we're going after, we do want to be very hospitable to. We want to be very welcoming to. And somewhere around June, if we're up to par to show our best, we'll do so. If not, we'll engage in camps elsewhere that we can identify and get our opportunity to evaluate players in person. And if not, we'll continue to do our Zoom stuff and things to the best of our ability. But we're not quite sure if we're going to bring them on campus if we even have camp starting once the decision is made June 1.
Coach Frank Wilson from the Pokes, the man that's got the Cowboys headed back in the right direction. You can feel it, man. The energy is great around your program. We appreciate the time this morning again. We'll talk next week, Coach.
Thank you so much, Jordy. Go Pokes, baby.
Yes, sir. There he is, Frank Wilson, checking in from the city, from Lake Charles this morning. As you can feel it, man. I tell you, I've been working back out at Traction over there, and Ryan Clark's got his guys over there. The NFL guys are working out. The college guys are working out. The top tier high school guys are working out, and you just kind of see it. Somebody will walk in with McNeese gear on. Somebody will walk in with McNeese shirt on. Micah Davey, Rohan's son, is over there. The former linebacker from University, who is a very high end player that's heading to McNeese to play for Coach Wilson, and he's a guy that probably some schools missed on, big schools. But he was like a magnet to Frank Wilson and the energy that they're just putting out from Lake Charles. And they've got, look, I can promise you one thing, if nothing else, his roster will be stacked a year from now. He is going to recruit, just like he said, balls to the wall, all gas, no brakes. I mean, all that stuff. 4 hours a day they start, all focused on recruiting. I mean, the first 4 hours of the day are all focused on building the future roster for McNeese football. And he's the man. I mean, he is the guy to do it. He's phenomenal. Daily, we are brought to you by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and the crew, RMB Builders, 921-7062, RMB-Builders.com. You need anything from a commercial space done, they're commercially licensed, but if you need a custom-built home, if you need remodel, if you need restoration around the house that you're in now, let RMB Builders take care of it, 921-7062. And remember, everything is podcasted here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Apple, Google, wherever you get your podcast from, Podbean. You can always find our daily shows there, and all of our podcasts are brought to you by RMB Builders. So we appreciate Rhett, his crew, and everybody for supporting us and what we're doing here. Yesterday it was announced that Kevin James is going to play Sean Payton in the newest of the Netflix, a new Netflix series that is set to begin here in the fall. A lot of reaction to that. Jeff Duncan covers the New Orleans Saints for the program, covers the New Orleans Saints for The Athletic, and is a great resource. In fact, he's the author of Peyton and Breeze, the greatest great. Hey, Jeff, it's Jordy, man. How are you? We're live.
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It has been I was introducing you as we were coming in and talking about the book, Peyton and Breeze, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history. I had a chance to read it since it's been published, and it's a fantastic read. And if anything, it shows the great, just access that Jeff had into the 15-year plus relationship shared with what I believe, Jeff, and I know we're biased because we've had a front row seat for nearly the last 2 decades, but the best quarterback head coach relationship, I guess Bill Walsh, Joe Montana would be the rival, but when you talk about these two guys and just the symmetry of play calling and production on the field, what was your biggest takeaway after diving into that relationship so thoroughly like you did for the book?
Well, Jordy, I think you said it. It's a unprecedented situation. The fact that it lasted as long as it did, 15 years, a decade and a half, that alone makes it, an enduring partnership that we had never seen before at the NFL level. Usually you get half that in a partnership, and either a coach moves on or a player gets injured. So their ability to last and to kind of endure the evolution of the league. And I think they were at the forefront of that as well. I mean, the offense Saints employed under Peyton and Breeze, it kind of took the league by storm back in the mid-2000s. They changed the game. I mean, some of the stuff we're seeing now the multiple personnel packages that are employed from down to down, the movement, the different alignments, all those things were part of the Peyton Breeze offense, and they changed the game. They opened it up. Drew Brees opened up the game to smaller quarterbacks. Now we see guys like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield succeeding, where before I think a lot of personnel directors and general managers felt compelled to get the strapping 6'4" quarterback that stood tall in the pocket. Games changed, and a lot of it had to do with what Sean Payton and Drew Brees did here in New Orleans.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And from just your point of view, I don't know if you had conversations or if you were able to get any information on this, but just in knowing the subjects so well like you did, how difficult do you think this offseason decision was for Brees, even though it was so highly anticipated that this was his final season?
Well, I think when it finally came down to making the ultimate decision, I think it was pretty easy. Just the injuries he endured the last couple of years. He had remarkable health, Jordy.
Yeah.
His first 13 years here in New Orleans. I mean, I think he missed one game before 2019 because of injury. And all of a sudden he misses the games in 19 with the thumb. And then last year he played through an assortment of injuries. And I think Father Time had caught up to him. And Drew had always told me that he wanted to leave the game on his own terms. He wanted to leave playing well and being successful. He didn't want to go out, kind of limping to the finish line. That was important to him. And so I think when he saw just how difficult it was to be able to endure the physical punishment at his age, I think the writing was on the wall, and the team had a very successful run. Obviously, he wanted to end it with a championship. There's no doubt. I'm sure he was disappointed. And a lot of factors led to them not ending with that storybook, ending the way he wanted. We have referees calls. We had a miracle play in Minnesota. Things like that, I think, when we look back on it, are going to be unfortunate final chapter to his career.
Sean Payton, I saw some comments the other day where he said, look, it hadn't hit him yet. He hadn't had to go through a 2-minute drill. He hadn't had to go through team meetings where Brees isn't there. He hadn't go through situations where Drew hadn't just been able to bail him out. What do you see next? How big of a challenge does Payton view this next step in his career and the Saints taking without Brees going into this season? Because, like you said, I mean, it's year 15, and this is the first time it's happened.
Yeah, well, I think actually, Jordy, and I'm sure you got this from reading the book, I mean, the thing the Saints are going to miss the most about Drew Brees isn't the God-given physical talent, the quarterback skills on the field. It's going to be his leadership and his drive, all these intangibles that drove him from being a under-recruited guy out of Austin, had one Division I offer, to becoming a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, that is what made him the great player he is. He obviously was a talented athlete. There's no doubt about that. But what separated him was his drive, his commitment. I mean, the mental stamina, the ability to process information. I don't see how you replace that. Mm-hmm. And I've heard great things about Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston as far as their leadership qualities. But we're talking about one of the greatest leaders in the history of the game. You just don't replace that. And I think the vacuum that's created from that is going to be the challenge. How do they find that in a player who basically drove everyone else in the building, coaches, staff, support staff? He drove all of them to a standard that they've never reached before. And I think human nature, when that's gone, is to relax a little bit. How do they keep pushing? That's going to be a challenge.
You think they look quarterback early in this draft?
Well, I think they will definitely consider one. Mm-hmm. I think if they like one, they will go get him. They've shown that in the past.
Yeah.
They're always going to be in the quarterback business. But it's going to have to be a guy they really like. They loved Pat Mahomes, and I think they were poised to take him a few years ago. If they find another one they really like, they now have the draft assets to move around and maybe go get a player that they want to target.
This is when Mickey Loomis and his front office and those guys do the best work. They were $100 million bloated over the cap, and they've shedded that number tremendously. What do you anticipate this roster looking like? How many more moves? How do you anticipate them getting to the number to make this thing competitive But I anticipate them doing that, obviously, just because of their history. But when you look at some of the hurdles still in front of them, anything you anticipate for them to get there?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is going to be kind of keeping that defense intact and playing at the level that it has been the last couple of years. I mean, they've improved dramatically on that side of the ball, but they lost a lot of defensive talent in this offseason purge to get under the salary cap. They've got a glaring hole at cornerback opposite Marshawn Lattimore, and you've got Marshawn Lattimore facing a legal situation that could sideline him for a game or two to start the season because of disciplinary measures. That, to me, in a division where you've got Julio Jones and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, all these great receivers, the Saints have to address cornerback. And I think some of the defensive holes that were created by releasing Quan Alexander, letting Trey Hendrickson, Sheldon Rankins walk. I mean, those are players that were playing key roles on defense, and they've got to find some replacements quickly in the draft and get them coached up. And then the other thing I'll say, Jordy, is this is still a talented team. I mean, you have 8 players that have made the Pro Bowl or All-Pro in their careers on the roster. I mean, that's a very high number. So there's talent here. I think the depth is what got hurt in this offseason with some of the salary cap moves.
Jeff, what did you make of the Ryan Nielsen situation with the Saints? I know that was somebody that LSU had targeted and they had gone after, and there was a little bit of back and forth with some contract language, and then Nielsen moves on. What did you make of that situation? And to follow up from that, the staff going into this season for the Saints and just some of the turnover there. It seems like Sean Payton, as much as his staff is attracted by other programs around the league, he continues to just kind of plug and play coaches and young talent into positions.
Well, I think it shows you just how much respect everyone has for Ryan Nielsen, how much of a hot commodity he is as a defensive mind. I mean, he is going to be a defensive coordinator at the college or pro level very soon, and I think he'll end up being a head coach somewhere. He is extremely well thought of in coaching circles. He's done a tremendous job in New Orleans, and obviously he has a great relationship with Ed Orgeron, so it made sense for Ed Orgeron to go and try and get him, and it made sense for the Saints to try and keep a very good coach on their staff. And I don't think anybody wants to keep a coach hostage. I don't think that was what happened here. I think Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis had a heart-to-heart with Ryan Nielsen and told him that he has a great future at the NFL level, and he could be – they told him he will be the next defensive coordinator in New Orleans if he stays here and Dennis Allen moves on. And I think that opportunity and the fact that he was contractually obligated led to him staying put. But make no mistake, I mean, Ryan Nielsen wanted that opportunity at LSU, and the only way that they could make it right for him in New Orleans was to match those offers and make it good for his family and his future.
Hey, Jeff, this is Katie. We're amazed by Zion's talent every night. You're in New Orleans. How good is he, and what are we watching?
Well, it's a great question, Katie. Your timing's perfect because I'm working on a huge takeout for The Athletic on that exact subject.
Oh, wow.
He's. I think the thing that is what makes Zion so spectacular right now is he's doing all this so quickly in his career. He's 20 years old. We forget how young he is. And he's just scratching the surface. Basically, he's operating just with the God-given talent he's had and worked on. He's still learning the game. He's still gaining experience. I mean, he's only played basically one season in the NBA when you add up his 2 years. I think it's scary what we're looking at. I think he's going to end up being one of the all-time greats. He's still got to get in better shape. He's not in the elite condition that he was at Duke for various reasons. But I think the maturity and the intelligence that he's shown early on and the grasp of the NBA game is just remarkable. And the last thing I'll say about that, one of the things I'm going to tell in this story that I think a lot of people will find fascinating is, we know a lot about what he does on the court, but not a lot of people know about Zion, the person and his personality and what he's like away from the court. He's a tremendous young man. I mean, he does a lot of really remarkable things off the court. He's a great leader. He has this kind of inclusiveness about him. Goes all the way back to high school. He looks out for people, whether they're they can help him or not. The end of the bench players are often who he befriends, the equipment managers, the ball boys. He just has this ability that people want to gravitate to him personally. And I think it's going to really give him an opportunity, if he continues ascending, which I think he will, to step into that void of Drew Brees as the superstar in the New Orleans sports scene.
His humility in 2021 for being the size of a superstar as he is. I mean, the cachet that he brings with his name and the humility that comes along with him is very much an outlying subject. I just think if you see a 20-year-old with this type of success and fame, he's going to tell you all about it on social media, and you can't find that on Zion. He's just a very quiet, interesting superstar. I mean, just the sentence I just wrote before you all called, I actually just wrote the sentence. He's a we guy in a me generation, and I think it's very unique because of all that's happened in this social media world, Rand, where players get this sense of entitlement. It's almost like they don't even know it. All of a sudden, through osmosis, they're walking around thinking that they're special because of the culture that we live in America, very celebrity obsessed. If anyone could have that sense of entitlement, it would be Zion Williamson. He's the exact opposite. He deflects the attention away. He wants his teammates and coaches to receive the attention. He uses his platform to help others. I think for someone 20 years old, that's pretty extraordinary.
It's amazing.
Do you think that's a product of where he comes from? It comes from a small town, like stayed with his high school, didn't really go the AAU route. Is that just kind of, we should have seen this coming almost?
Yeah, I think also the way he was raised, his parents have done a tremendous job of teaching him those values. But I also think one of the things I've tried to drill down in on this story is he's very much an independent thinker. It's one of the things I find most compelling about him. And remember at Duke when he injured his knee with the shoe blowout, everyone said, oh, you need to opt out. You need to not play. He didn't do that. He wanted to honor his commitment to his team and to his teammates. He went, as you mentioned, he went to a small private school in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He didn't do the route that a lot of these elite players take, go to some basketball factory and just have it basketball 24/7. His parents wanted to socialize him and get a different experience. And when he went to Duke, he wanted to be part of a college experience, not just about basketball, but socializing with other students. I just think he has a unique way about him that's really different in today's society, and I think it's what's led him to be the quality young person he is.
Jeff Duncan, who is a columnist over at The Athletic, one of the great writers of our state, is covering New Orleans, just covers the city. If you are into New Orleans, you've got to follow him on Twitter at Jeff Duncan _. Make sure that you have a subscription to The Athletic so you can keep up with the latest. I can't wait to read that piece on Zion coming up. Jeff, we always appreciate your time and your tidbits. Thank you for the time this morning. We'll be checking in again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and you all have a great day and a great weekend. Enjoy this great weather we're getting.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes, sir. There he is, Jeff Duncan, checking in from New Orleans this morning as one of the great writers that you can find in our state covering. He's a Louisville native, but has moved down to New Orleans and really embraced the culture, the city, the lifestyle, and he's been here for such a long time, and he's got a great pen as he documents all of that for The Athletic. And make sure you read that. I can't wait to read that Zion piece.
I know, me
I'm
too.
telling you.
I'm excited.
Because we started talking about this about 5 weeks ago, just kind of the
just noticing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just how much of an outlier he is. I mean, forget the basketball talent, right? I mean, which is freakish. Just how just weird of a prospect he is.
Yeah.
I mean, for somebody in 2021 to be raised in this type of generation and platform of social media showing you everything. I mean, he's the #1 overall pick with a skill set that is, uncomparable to anybody. He's taking the NBA night in, night out by storm, and you're just hearing it from everybody else, which I love. I just love. I mean, I just think that we are so lucky to be in this part of the world and be exposed to this talent so young. And him embracing not only the city, but just everything that comes along with it, and being like Jeff said, I think that's a great way to say it, a we guy or a we person in a me world.
I know, I love that.
That's a very concise, sharp, easy to understand way to describe Zion Williamson in the way that he operates right now. So
we were watching the game last night, and I turned to David and said, "We're making a huge mistake not going to see him play more live."
Amen.
And
Amen.
He just added another tool to the shed. Add a little baby jumper in there last night.
Yes.
Watch out.
Well, I mean, look, Lonzo is his trade value within the organization is just skyrocketing every day because they've moved Zion to the primary point guard with Lonzo out. And
He's taking it by storm.
I mean,
he
why take the ball out of his hand?
Yeah.
Why would you take the ball out of his hand? I mean, he can handle it like a point guard, but he's got a body like a big, and he can create space, and within 6 feet, he's unstoppable. I mean, don't overthink this thing.
What a terrifying matchup when you see him coming up the court with the ball in his hand. You're, just a normally built NBA point guard. Like, what am I supposed to be guarding here? How do I attack this? And he gets a full head of steam going downhill, and he just yams it on you.
Or the prideful dude that says, he ain't running through me. Let me just step over here and take a charge on this guy and see what happens.
Dude,
and he caves your chest in.
There was some poor walk-on at Duke, I'm sure, that thought that. For about a day.
Absolutely.
And just Duke charge.
Right.
That game
Where's the
last
Zion
night.
guy?
Let me stand right outside the restricted circle.
That was a tough game to watch last night, though.
They're maddening.
Yeah, they are.
Man.
Well, I mean, they just the lack of defense, bro.
It's like I think I relate to them because it's like being a Bulldog. I mean, it really is.
Probably
it's
so.
It's like being a Mississippi State fan.
Probably so. Probably so. Remember, Red Stick Sports is the home of the Jordy Culotta Show merchandise store. Stop in and visit Red Stick Sports. In fact, if you are a business owner, Red Stick Sports can do that for you. They can turn they can make your merchandise shop for you today. Get in touch with Cody Edwards. Get in touch with Brian Redmond and all the pros over at Red Stick Sports. Remember, you can shop Jordy Culotta Show merchandise over there, whether it's on the showroom or you want to shop online with the what's the store site there?
Jordy.itemorder.com.
Dude, you'd wake him up out of a sleep and he would say that.
That's right.
Jordy says it's going to rain today. I don't know if you've gotten your raincoats yet, but
that Southern Marsh drip is unreal.
Southern Marsh raincoat is amazing. Everyone's missing out on this if you haven't gotten it.
What's the weather report looking like today?
It's going to be bad, I think.
Dr. Steve says we're looking sketchy, man.
I just looked at my weather. Oh, it just changed. What the hell?
It always just changes.
Who did that?
You want to cold call Dr. Steve?
Yeah, let me text him. Text him. See, I hate to call him while he's on the air.
Okay, wait. Can I bring up the Kings uniforms last night too versus the Pelicans? I should have brought it up to Hunt because they were all black.
Sacktown ones?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, they were all black, which made me laugh and think about Hunt. But also, like, that they say Sacktown. That makes me uncomfortable. And I said that to David, and he was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I don't just think about it. I don't know.
Obvious reasons.
Just what I picture in my head when I see all the Sacktown coming at you."
Right? It sounds like a men's locker room.
It's so strange to me that they have that on their uniforms.
I mean, it is what people call Sacramento, but yeah,
I get it.
It's a bunch of guys running around with jerseys that say Sacktown.
Exactly. I won't go any further than
I'm gonna let you. I'll get you one.
A Sacktown jersey.
Sacktown population.
I'll be sure to wear
Who's that? Who's there? De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and that goes to show the value that Drew Holiday brought to this team because we're getting carved up by point guards left and right now. Eric Bledsoe was supposed to be a good defensive stopper.
And he's not.
And he's just not.
And he's not.
And Drew Holiday is sorely missed. And if you can get out of that contract with the Bucks, you can come on back home.
Bro, he just signed an extension.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You can wiggle that thing out and come on home. That was a mistake. We made a mistake. And now he's set up and...
He's done, man. You're going to have to find the type of players that you're going to have to find around Zion, I think, is going to be... David Griffin's going to have to be very creative on who he puts alongside Zion in the role that he's in, the role that he's growing into, because this is who he is.
Right.
This is who he is. This is where he's supposed to be. All right, let's call the doc.
On this day in 2016, this was Kobe's last game, final game. Right, He scored 60 points in that game.
I watched it.
Walked off the court for the last time.
Mamba out.
Hello?
Mamba out. Yeah.
Dr. Cap.
Weather in.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing fine. How about you guys?
Doing good. We're
Surprise.
live. We're live. Before we say anything, we just talked to Jeff Duncan. I spent the weekend in New Orleans. I don't know if the weather could have been any better over the last 10 days, Doc? 10. I mean, has this been a great? This has been. This isn't going to be the only spring weather we get, right?
No, okay. It's not. I mean, you got to throw out Friday night, Saturday morning, yes, obviously, because that was pretty ugly. But the last couple of days were awesome. Now the problem is we got to get through the next several days aren't looking nice at all. We got a flash flood watch now through noon on Thursday. Potential of a few strong and severe storms next couple of days. So it's going to be ugly. But there's going to be another nice payoff by Sunday and the next week. It's going to be beautiful. Temperatures below normal. We're talking about morning temps in the 50s, highs low to mid 70s Sunday into next week. So it's going to be pretty nice. But like I said, got to get through the next few days.
Am I good for my senior pictures on Sunday?
Sunday, you're probably okay. Yeah, I think by Sunday we're doing much better.
Saturday spring game?
But that's kind of touch and go right now.
TBD.
Okay.
But you're telling me baseball practice is canceled tonight, most likely.
Yeah, I think baseball's probably not going to happen. Right. I mean, it's not out of the question that baseball practice is canceled. LSU baseball could still happen. It's really going to be a matter, I think, of just how much the field dries out. The rain will probably let up in time for a game itself this evening. I just don't know if the field, if it's going to be dry enough or not.
There is a flag football game Friday night in the greater New Orleans area that both city down to kickoff at 7 o'clock. Does that look like that's going to happen between the two 10-year-old teams?
that also could be in jeopardy. So here's why the forecast. I don't want to get too weather nerdy on you guys, but just explain why today and tomorrow really just kind of slam dunk, pretty heavy rain events and pretty clear cut. We're going to get dumped on pretty good. Once we get beyond about, say, Thursday morning, gets a little less certain. There's going to be a cold front that stalls out somewhere. Now, whether it's right over South Louisiana or along the coast, that's going to make the difference on really who continues to get the rain Friday, Saturday. So a little higher uncertainty Friday and Saturday on just how long the rain hangs on.
This is Dr. Steve Caparato. You can catch him mornings on WAFB. He is also the meteorologist for the Jordy Culotta Show, and you can find him on Twitter at Steve WAFB. We always appreciate it. Great to hear from you, sir. We'll talk again soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. There is Dr. Cap checking in.
That means we can just call him whenever.
Yeah, we'll just
He's the official meteorologist.
Yeah, with the weather app.
When the weather goes to shit like it looks like it's going to over the next 48 hours. What the hell am I going to do about my flag football game on Friday,
Mike? This is a big thing you had set up, dude.
I mean, I've been talking so much.
That's the one in New Orleans.
We need a dry track.
We got to get a dome.
I need a dry track, bro. I need a bubble.
That's in New Orleans.
Yes, it's in New Orleans. We're traveling. A little home and home here with the
Can
with
y'all
the
do
New
it
Orleans
indoors?
crew.
Does that ever happen?
I mean, I would imagine that Jeff Berg, the prominent lawyer who runs the New Orleans Flag Football League, has some type of relationship with the Saints. You know what I mean? If we could just get 40 yards zoned off within the practice facility or the dome this weekend, I mean, that would be ideal.
It would be ideal,
Jeff, if for the back-to-backer on Friday night. So let us reset here. We will come back and close out on the Jordy Culotta Show, or we can get out of here early. If anything else, we leave on the table. Everything good?
I did have one thing. I
Yes.
put this in the document. I don't know if y'all saw it or not.
I
but
see it.
Yeah, after I came home Sunday night, and it was about 11 o'clock, and I didn't have anything to eat. So I tried to go gas station routes. Like, certainly there'll be something. But I still didn't do
You live with a chef. How do you have nothing
she was
to
asleep.
eat?
It was asleep. It was 11:30 at night. I just got to get something. But I still to do a couple gas station Lunchables, and I kind of found my stride again with the Lunchables. So I was wondering if y'all had any childhood snacks that you still find fond.
I still go for the old granola bar with the old man. What was that? Quakers and Oats.
Quaker Oats.
Is that Quaker Oats granola bar?
Like the chewy one?
Yeah, the chewy one. I mean, anytime those are around, like I'll buy Jordan a box of those for his lunch for the week, and I've got to buy an extra box because it's almost by the time I get home.
Oh yeah,
cracking them open.
Like I'm halfway through them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then kind of like by the time I've unpacked the groceries, I've got like one left in my box.
Throughout the day?
Yeah, and just crushing them throughout the day, and it's like one of those snacks that I've been eating. I mean, I can taste my childhood in it. You know what I mean? Like I've been eating them forever.
So
you remember those?
Remember
those Star Crunch? Remember those? Star Crunch?
Star Crunches. Yeah,
I do
Star
remember
Crunches.
those.
Bro, I think
Little Debbie's.
Yeah, is that a Little Debbie?
It's a Little
product?
Debbie.
It's a Little Debbie. Yeah.
I've always thought that the Star Crunch
Those are chewy, so that's
very
similar.
very underrated.
My favorite is when that has been sitting by the ice pack in your lunchbox.
Oh,
and it's kind of cold.
That's specific. That's specific.
Yeah, that's like a very much like a.
Well, I like refrigerated M&Ms, refrigerated
Oh,
refrigerated Snickers.
Same.
Refrigerated Reese's are the only way to eat Reese's.
We
Very
do.
much
Thanks
true.
to Tom Granning, we
Very
have
much
tons
true.
of refrigerated Reese's here.
Yeah, like cold
I didn't get into a Lunchable though. I didn't get into.
Yeah, bro, Lunchables.
Lunchables
are.
are.
It shocked me too.
Lunchable,
ham and Swiss. Dude,
Lunchable
not
shady.
bad.
Lunchable shady.
I've like been.
It's not gonna go bad. It's just a little pastry.
Exactly. That's the shady part about it.
So many preservatives in it. It's never going
right.
bad.
That and the Capri Sun. What
That's
a
right.
Big Go-Gurt guy.
Go-Gurt.
Big Go-Gurt guy.
Go-Gurt.
Love Go-Gurt.
Okay.
Very good.
I can't think of anything prepackaged. My mom was kind of a health nut, but I do still like.
What were your snacks coming up then?
Peanut
for
butter,
a health
peanut
nut?
butter on graham crackers is like one of my favorites.
No,
like
that's a great one.
sandwich
That's
them
pretty good.
together,
Yeah, these things were around my house.
Oh, Teddy
The
Grahams.
cereal I ate growing up was grape nuts.
Oh
like,
wow,
we didn't
you
have
were a
sugar
health
cereal.
conscious
We
family.
didn't have sugar cereal.
Y'all didn't even have the selection for the cheaters.
No,
Like you,
there were no
even
cheaters.
when, I mean, even when like
When
friends
you
came
had
over,
My
you don't have
mom
any
was
like
an
Lucky
aerobics
Charms or Fruit
teacher.
Loops. Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, she's rolling out the yoga mat when the kids come over. Let's get a couple stretches in, kids.
My man Brian Fletcher said that he's over here permanently now because this show is it sounds smarter for him. I think that we're
love
probably
that.
killing that. We're probably killing that vibe right now.
A smooth businessman, to
that
be
is.
exact, what he said.
Intellectuals
Fletch.
only in the Culotta show.
All right, enjoy your Tuesday. I hate that it's gonna be sloppy weather, but stay safe out there. And we're back with you tomorrow. We've got Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois gonna come in here on Wednesday. How about Braden Fajoko coming into the UDL? Let's see when Braden is coming in. Tomorrow morning. Anyway, they could do Thursday or Friday. So Thursday or Friday, we'll have Braden Fajoko in to the UDL. We'll talk more about this LSU baseball team. Is they're back in action tonight? Maybe, as Dr. Cap said there, possibly. So check out the podcast. We're brought to you daily by R&B Builders. Appreciate the support. Back with you tomorrow morning.